I particularly appreciate your vision of the work already carried out on the Barnahus, but most importantly, our collective desire, ambition to move forward to better guarantee the rights of every child in Europe and beyond through structures such as the Barnahus models. At the Council of Europe, we believe in the so-called strategic triangle, which defines our intervention in and with member states. The three angles of this triangle are interconnected and they span over our action: standard setting, where we set common standards to define comprehensive regulatory and policy instruments to reach excellence in human rights, the rule of law, and democracy, our values. Monitoring mechanisms that assess the implementation of those standards and reveal the gaps or promising practices, which we have done through the Lanzarote Committee, which monitors the Lanzarote Convention, which identified Barnahus as one of the promising practices supporting child victims of sexual violence. And then we have the cooperation and technical assistance programs, which entail a vast range of tools to tackle the shortcomings, to support our states in addressing the gaps that have been identified through the monitoring mechanisms. So for us, it's really about cooperation with the states, for the states, in order to achieve a common objective, which is really important and at the center of the mission of the Council of Europe. We believe that this is the recipe for success, and it's our genuine wish for development and betterment of human rights at large and children's rights in particular. So today I would like to share three key messages. First, ensuring child-friendly services and justice for victims of violence cannot wait. About 1 in 5 children in Europe are victims of some form of sexual violence, and we must remember the many forms of violence to which children are in general exposed. Violence occurs in many settings: circle of trust, in the schools, in sports clubs, in religious institutions and youth organizations. Violence happens in institutions for the care and the protection of children. It happens online every day, all the time. Children in vulnerable situations are at heightened risk. These risks are multiplied by shocks caused by conflict, displacement, economic crisis, among others. Criminal networks involved in trafficking and other forms of exploitations are very quick to take advantage of such situations. Child victims, most of the time, they do not get the services they need or access to the justice that they deserve. They are not supported in dealing with the devastating and lifelong consequences of the abuse. Children face enormous barriers in coming forward and disclosing their traumatic experience. They face stigma, shame, and they lack child-friendly pathways to seek help. If children have to deal with poorly coordinated services and processes that take a long time to conclude, they will be even less inclined to disclose. In addition, being subject to multiple interviews from professionals who lack the necessary skills can compound the initial trauma and lead to a secondary victimization. This can undermine the chances of successfully prosecuting the offender, perpetuating the cycle of under-reporting, under-prosecution, and impunity for these crimes. Justice is denied. My second message is that the Barnahus model and others similar to it are essential to addressing these challenges. They bring together highly trained professionals from key sectors under one roof. They provide a child-friendly environment for children to be interviewed, for their needs to be assessed, and connected them with the therapeutic and support services. Crucially, this approach is informed by the growing body of evidence, which is extremely important for us in any endeavor around Barnahus, is to collect evidence and data. Barnehus model acknowledges that a child's life cannot be divided up neatly to match the services that are on offer. We must look at the child's rights and needs and build the services around the child. Ensuring such an integrated service approach is an essential component of a child's rights-based approach that puts the child at the center. It is not enough to have a Barnehus. The Barnehus needs a properly trained interagency collaboration, and that is the essence of Barnehus. My third message is that we must maintain our ambition to do even better for children. During the last 10 years, I had the pleasure to visit a number of Barnehus structures in different countries in Europe and to learn more about the crucial work that is being done by courageous professionals, led by courageous politicians, by competent professionals who really want to make the right change, to change legislation to make it work, to invest in training of the professionals, to recruit specialized professionals who are dedicated to working in Barnehus. It's not easy. There are always challenges and there are always obstacles on that road. But one of the things that strikes me every time is how the service continues to evolve and adapt and to expand, building on an excellent foundational basis. We started in point A, we are moving to point B, C, D, and we see the potential of Barnehus and similar services that we are able to address different kinds of situations, different kinds of violence, but we need to be able to adapt and to address really and to support the professionals in handling those situations, because our world is not static. So we must continue to ask whether we can reach more children and whether we can push our standards higher. We must continue sharing promising practices and following the evidence. And this is what we are doing in the context of the Lanzarote Committee, which is all state parties that come together 3 times a year. They update each other on the challenges, on the obstacles, on the success. And I think that is one of the key elements and essence of how we can also make Barnehus work, that we are constantly meeting regularly to be able to learn from each other, to push each other, and to encourage each other as states and as professionals. So there is deep and rich experience right across all of the Council of Europe member states that we can learn from. But I also strongly encourage you to look beyond the European region, Council of Europe region. There are also examples providing integrated services to child victims of violence in other parts of the world, which can both inform and be informed by you. So let me conclude by emphasizing that investment in child-sensitive integrated service is more urgent than ever to put an end to the pandemic of violence against children in the shortest delays possible. Dear Deputy Prime Minister, dear guests, dear Regina, dear colleagues, I'm very honored to join forces with UNICEF. I think this is really an excellent example of how we can collaborate and coordinate our action, because there are a lot of states that need support, and we need to be able to support them in a strategic, harmonious manner. And that is what we are doing now. We are laying the foundation of transformative change in the lives of child victims of sexual exploitation and sexual abuse. It is not just our ambition, it is our obligation. The road ahead may seem challenging, but it is through political courage, partnerships, and meaningful progress will be made. And your commitment underscores the importance of a united front in addressing the complexities of child-friendly justice. But let's not lose sight of quality. It's not about quantity. How many Barnehus do we have? It's about the quality of the Barnehus that we should have. Once again, I extend my gratitude for your support and the strong involvement of your colleagues. I look forward to the continued cooperation between the Council of Europe and all of our other international partners and member states as we work towards a child's rights compliant and safe environment through Barnahus, where the child victim of violence is not afraid, is not ashamed to go through the justice system, knowing that they can fully exercise their rights. Thank you very much.